Hey Gaggy, it's your friendly neighborhood art teacher, Mrs. Kirkpatrick, and today we're going to make nature wands. And I'm really kind of excited to share this with you. I got the idea and inspiration for this artwork from some pictures I saw from another artist who also made these, and I thought they looked so cool that I wanted to try making them, and I wanted to try and make them with you and share this with you too. So I have two here that I've already made and worked on, and I'm going to show you how I got started and what I did so that you can try it too. The first thing I did was I went out and I got my supplies. So I went outside and I just found some sticks, and not all of them were the right size. I had to break some of them to be the right size, and I didn't take them off a living tree. I found them on the ground around my neighborhood. So I found some sticks, and I also had some dry grasses that I got these pieces from. I thought these were pretty cool, and I got on the end of this wand, I got this seed part of the grass. I thought that looked really cool. I don't know if you guys can see that. So I am going to show you how I attached the grass piece to the stick. So you can start with that if you want to, but you don't have to. For this particular Magic Nature one, I only used yarn and one pipe cleaner, and I didn't attach any extra pieces besides the stick. So there's lots of different ways you can do this. After I got the materials from outside, I started digging around through my art supplies that I have here at home, and I was looking for things that I could wrap around a stick. So I found yarn and ribbon and costume trim, that's a bunch of sequins trim, pipe cleaners. I found a lot of pipe cleaners, and I found some parachute cord. You can really use anything that you have. You can use ribbon that you think you could wrap around a stick. So really kind of look around your house, ask your parents for permission if you're not sure it's something you can use or not for an artwork, and gather up your things. And once I had mine all gathered, then what I started doing is I started grouping them into colors that I thought looked good together, and that's how I picked what I was going to use to make each wand. So I have a grouping right here that I'm going to use. I have a combination of things here. I got some ribbon that's kind of like this mossy green, and then I have two pipe cleaners. I have a thinner one and a thicker one that are both kind of like a nice kind of deep mossy green. They're matching the ribbon there. And then I have this yarn here, and this yarn is multiple colors, so I kind of like that it's got more than one color in it, so I'm going to use that. And I also have this sequin trim. So I think I want to try and find a way to incorporate this into my wand. Now that I have all my things together, we can get started. I'm going to start off, I picked this stick to use, and I'm going to add these three grass pieces to it. So you don't have to tape them on, you could just wrap them with the yarn, but for me it was helpful. I find it helpful to tape them in place so they don't move around. So I am going to take a little bit of tape, and you can use any kind of tape. It's going to get covered up anyway and you won't see it. And this is going to be the top. The top of the stick is going to be the top of the wand. So I am going to figure out or decide how much I want the tops of these, how much I want that plumage to stick out of the top of the wand. So I think I want it about like that. So I'm just going to take this tape and stick. Make sure they're going in the directions I want them to go. You can really take your time. No shortcuts to good art, right? So I'm grouping these little guys here. I think I'm going to take one at a time. I'm having a hard time doing all three, so I'm just going to do one at a time. Not a big deal. All right, tape that. You don't have to tape it super well either if you're adding anything on with tape. As long as it holds it in place like that, you're okay. All right, here's my next one. got one more. I need another little piece of tape. Position this last one here. I'm trying to make sure it looks the way I want it, and now that I have that, I'm going to tape that in place too. That worked much better doing those one at a time. I'm glad that I stopped trying to do all three at once. All right, I could leave it like that. These are hanging off the bottom. I may just do one more piece of tape there to keep them close to the stick as I make this Magic Nature wand. This week is all about stick art, so stick with me. We got a lot to do. All right, here we go. So this is pretty ready to go. I'm gonna start off with my yarn. I think that the yarn is one of the easiest things to wrap around, and so are the pipe cleaners. So I can decide if I wanna work at the top or the bottom. I'm just gonna work, I think, from the top down. So I'm gonna take my yarn. I'm not even gonna cut a piece yet, but I'm just gonna kind of carefully pull it as I need it from the skein of yarn, so that I don't get too many tangles. And I'm gonna just take this and put it underneath and just tie a little knot. Just to hold it in place. All right, so I tied my knot, and I'm not going to trim this. You could, but I'm not going to, because I'm just going to wrap it into the position that I want it to be in. So I'm going to just start, and I could go around and around and wrap, but because these were maybe kind of in my way, I could either go around the other side, but that's kind of long too. So you have to play with it. You have to figure out what's going to be a technique that works for you, but I'm just going to start spinning my stick and my pieces of grass here. And as I spin, I'm going to just hold that yarn and keep some tension in it. And I'm going to start moving up a little bit to wrap the yarn a little higher toward the top. And now I'm going to start coming back down. So you'll decide if you're going to wrap it around or just spin. And whatever you find that works for you, you know, go with that. Go with what's going to make it feel like you have good control of your materials. And I'm looking here, as I'm wrapping this, I'm looking to see that I'm covering the stick and the grass with the yarn and the tape, because I really don't want to see that part when it's all done. So I'm just kind of keeping everything in a line. And I'm overlapping that little tail that when I tied the knot, there was that little tail of yarn. I'm just wrapping over the top of that to kind of trap it in next to the stick and the grass. So I'm just going to do this until I'm ready to switch to my next material. And I'm basically doing one layer of yarn as I wrap down here. But for this one, if you look, the yarn is thicker in some places and thinner in others. And for this, I had to make sure I wrapped more in the thick places and less in the places I wanted to stay thinner. So you kind of can decide how you want to wrap your yarn. I always wanted to be a wrap artist. This is my chance. So here you can see my finished Magic Nature wand. I finished wrapping the yarn that I started with, and then I added a pipe cleaner, and I added some of that ribbon and I kind of scrunched it up. I don't know if you can see. I scrunched it up and I held that in place by wrapping another dark green pipe cleaner right over the top of that. And then under that, I added some more yarn and I kind of wrapped that last piece of yarn all the way up and all the way back down so it kind of crisscrosses over the whole thing. And then I was very excited that I was able to take my sequin trim and I could add that on as a finishing touch to this Magic Nature wand. So I really, really like how this turned out, and I'm going to add it to my collection. I have this one here, and I have my purple one, and I think they're looking really wonderful. I am going to make a couple more of these because right now I'm on a roll and I just can't even stop. So I'm going to make a few more. I will share them with you. And again, if you make these on your own, and really, you can wrap your wands in just about anything that you have around the house, anything that's wrappable. Take pictures of them and put them on your gallery space. I really want to see what you guys come up with on your own. So keep making your art, keep staying creative, and I hope you have fun making Magic Nature wands.